You're just in time for NTV Property Show. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always such a great pleasure to have you with us. Now, the national budget that was read in March by CS National Treasury Henry Rotich has many places that indicate about housing and real estate. But what does it really mean to investors and taxpayers? We'll get to delve into that discussion in not too long. But first, here is the Property of the Week segment. 4 kilometers from Kitengela town are these 4-bedroom all-ensuite maisonettes, inclusive of a penthouse priced at 17 million. Construction of Kitengela Royal Finesse houses is still underway, and after completion there will be 78 units in total. Phase 1 is complete with 10 units and 80% is already sold out. Once complete, Phase 2 will consist of 28 units, while the remaining 40 will be in Phase 3. A mahogany door leads to a large and spacious living room with full-length windows that allow a lot of natural light in. The marble tiles match perfectly with the bright walls. One side of the wall is painted standard black, however, you can change this to your preferred color. Chandeliers, snake lights and downlighters are already fitted, and the amount of light can be regulated depending on the ambience desired for the room at any given time. The space beneath the staircase is designed in such a way that it can be converted to a mini library or can be used as an additional storage for documents or small items lying around the lounge. The dining area is spacious. It exhibits bright walls, ample sockets and large windows for natural light. The kitchen is spacious and has fitted cupboards all the way to the ceiling, ample marble countertops as well. There are clear glass cabinets that are accessible from both the kitchen and dining area. A 4-burner cooker, hood, oven and microwave are already fitted. The pantry has shelves for storage and a socket is provided. A steel door leads to a spacious washing area. Here there is provision for a gas cylinder. From the washing area is the servants' quarter, which is ensuite. The guest cloakroom is fitted with ceramic tiles. It is ensuite with inbuilt wardrobes and large windows. The bathroom is fitted with a shower head. Up the staircase are 2 spare bedrooms which are similar. Both are ensuite with inbuilt cabinets and may preferably be children's rooms. Exhibiting ample space is the master bedroom. It has a walk-in closet providing storage for clothes, shoes and jewelry. The bathroom contains a shower head, bathtub and 2 wash basins. The balcony from the master bedroom gives a clear view of the vast plains of Kitengela. One of the unique aspects of these maisonette is the penthouse. It is en suite and can be used as a TV room, gym, study, prayer room, or even as an extra bedroom. Water is supplied through a borehole that is within the development, serving all units. In addition, each unit has 3 water tanks on the rooftop, underground, and next to the laundry area. Electricity is postpaid, and for security, there is a perimeter wall, a laser electric fence, and an alarm system combined with motion detectors. Some of these social amenities that residents will enjoy include a swimming pool, children's playground, basketball court, and a jogging area. Royal Finesse has close proximity to Acacia Academy, Gertrude's Children's Hospital, Karen Hospital, and Naivas Supermarket. Water crisis in Nairobi and its environs has caused a major headache to many Kenyans. Question is, how best should you store your water? That's what we tell you on our Property Essentials segment. Early in the year, Nairobi residents were slapped with the reality of water rationing as water levels in the Dakaini Dam dropped drastically. The dam that supplies 80% of domestic water in Nairobi dropped to an all-time low of 41.5%. For months down the line, residents have had to find ways and means of storing water. In this feature segment, we explain simple plans for water storage. It is important to note that water storage needs to be protected against viruses, contamination, and bacteria. Water should be stored in a UV-resistant, food-grade plastic container or tank. The safest to hold water in are polyethylene-based plastics or polyplastic tanks. These types of plastic are good for long-term storage and is BPA-free. The shapes of the tanks vary according to the manufacturer. The majority of designs are computer-generated for both strength and appearance, but by far the strongest profile by engineering design is corrugated. These designs actually look like a conventional tank and can complement the home and environment well. Concrete tanks are often poured on site using steel mold into which reinforcing steel is placed before concrete is poured in. The steel formwork is then removed and the completed tank is revealed. These tanks can be placed either on top or in the ground and are usually the most affordable for an in-ground solution. Metal or steel tanks have been popular for years, and continued development of new colors, shapes and sizes has ensured they still are. Some years ago, they were made from rolled sheets of galvanized iron and soldered to prevent leaking. Buying containers or tanks for water storage should not clutter your home. The key to water storage is laying out a simple plan based on your needs and then proceed to finding the right container at the right price. Other tips for storing water in plastic containers are: 1. Do not use milk jugs for water storage. Since milk jugs are biodegradable, they will break down over time. Also, any live cultures in the milk that remain in the jug could make you ill if you store drinking or cooking water in milk jugs. 2. Disposable water bottles are not great for long-term storage. Number 4, store water in various sized containers and plan for different situations. You can siphon the water from your water barrel into other containers and refill it before emergencies arise. In addition to storing water, preserving it when it is available is also prudent. Everyone should learn of ways to save water. Here are a few ways of doing so. Save tap water. If you leave your tap running, you spend an average of 12 liters of water per minute. So turn off the tap while washing dishes or brushing your teeth. If you drink tap water, you can keep it in the fridge in a closed box for 24 hours only. You should also drink and prepare your meals with cold water instead of hot. Bacteria develops more easily in warm water. Save water while washing. It is better to have a shower instead of a bath, as the latter consumes 2 to 5 times more water than a shower. Certain products such as chemical detergents or washing powder are not absorbed by wastewater treatment plants, so they are carried to lakes and rivers and pollute them. Aquatic ecosystems are hence endangered. Collect rainwater. Rainwater may be used for all activities not requiring drinking water. Rainwater collection for domestic purposes is an increasingly popular practice that not only saves water but also helps avoid overloading drainage systems during flooding. Water preservation comes naturally when everyone in the family is aware of its importance, and parents or guardians ought to take the time to teach children some of the simple water-saving methods around the home, which can make a big difference. On 30th March 2017, National Treasury Cabinet Secretary Henry Rotich unveiled the fifth and last budget for President Uhuru Kenyatta's first term in office. The government plans to spend 2.6 trillion shillings, and it will be governed by taxes and borrowing. What does this mean to investors and taxpayers? We talked to Steve Okoth. He is a tax director at BDO East Africa. Quite a mega budget by the Jubilee administration. They expect to use 1.7 trillion for the taxpayers. What does this mean?
It's a big budget, but budgets increase every single year. It is expected that KRA should be able to collect 1.7 trillion, and then the deficit will be plugged by borrowings, both from the domestic market and even internationally. The question is, the taxes that they pay, is it then going to be used, in a judicious fashion? That should be the question, because when tax revenue is utilized in the proper manner, it results into the economy, growing better, or jobs being created, wealth being created, businesses being supported. And I think that is the policy angle that now, the focus should more be on that, rather than, we are paying so much in terms of taxes, 1.7 trillion, and we can't see. You can look at it, there are certain initiatives that have been put in place by the CS. The CS announced these ones, and Kenyans are likely to derive benefit from those initiatives. Some of them, for example, the agriculture projects, irrigation schemes, money is being spent to revive the national irrigation schemes across the country. That can result into agricultural output being increased.
You talked about a judicious way of using taxes, and we have a country like Ethiopia that have used their taxes very well. But going back to the infrastructure projects, there's quite a high number of infrastructure projects, and there's funding for that. Why do you think the allocation of funds is never enough?
Mega infrastructure projects are very expensive ventures. They are extremely expensive. What I can contribute to is the infrastructure. Is it being connected to real economic activity? And is the allocation being commensurate to the real economic activity? Because infrastructure is not a real economic activity. It supports the real economic activities, like services, agriculture, manufacturing, and the rest. So there is a disproportionate allocation. Very little compared to infrastructure has been allocated to the real economy. So what I will then recommend is that in the next budgets, much more focus should now come down to the real to the real economy where, you know, real
and
value
this is such
generated.
as manufacturing and agriculture?
Largely services, manufacturing and agriculture.
So because the infrastructure projects have already been given a higher percentage, are we seeing doom coming?
We will not see doom, but also there may be no gloom because you know, we are generally, Kenya is a well-performing economy. It's a well, you know, established and properly diversified economy. So we are less likely to suffer just because of budget policy in a particular 1 year. Okay,
let's talk about incentives. The corporate tax incentive was introduced by CS Henry Rotich for those developers who will construct 400 units per year. But it hasn't gained a lot of excitement from the investors. Why is that so?
This is a very good incentive. It is just the technical details, you know, the structure of the guidelines of projects to qualify need to be made to be more practical. If they are made to be more practical, there will be an upsurge in applications.
And investors can now take them up.
And investors can really take that up. Because Kenya is a growing market, there is a huge demand for houses. There are people who can't buy houses just because houses are too expensive. There is an untapped market, and that, I think, is what the housing policy for the government is, to avail houses for many Kenyans as possible. That is the policy that is there. To achieve that policy objective, then the tax policy must pursue it.
Are there any other incentives that affect the real estate industry?
There are a number of initiatives. They are not particularly structured to be targeted to the real estate industry, but they will support the real estate sector. For example, real estate investment trusts, REITs. If you transfer assets into a REIT, then that kind of transfer will now be exempted from VAT if it is a taxable, you know, event. And that is a big incentive that is being put for REITs. You know, REITs are vehicles which are intended to encourage, many Kenyans to invest in real estate from a collective front, and to enjoy tax incentives. The other issue is that there is a big project to encourage and, you know, to inculcate Islamic financing products into our system. So the banks in the country already have Islamic financing products. So if these are encouraged, then our Muslim brothers will then, you know, have a bigger incentive to participate in the real estate segment. If there is a real estate project, it has a number of phases. There is the idea development phase, then the financing phase, you know, then the development and the disposal or rental. So financing is very important, and there have been a lot of conflicts between banks and developers.
From where you stand, what other aspects do you think should be brought in to bring in decent low-cost housing in 2017-2018?
First of all, you know, housing, government can set up policy, but especially the national government. But it is not a one-man show. Everyone must be able to play a role in this. County governments need to play a role in this. Already there is shortage of housing, houses even outside Nairobi, in the major towns where the county governments, you know, do the bulk of their business. County governments need to play a role in this. There needs to be allocation of land, but if you have, a mass transportation system that is able to bring in, people from further outside Nairobi within a very short time, that can ease the burden, that people are facing, high rent and lack of houses. If you just want to relocate your house, you will just realize how difficult it is to get a house in a decent neighborhood. It is quite difficult. So it has to be a well-connected approach, and it cannot just be driven from a tax angle.
In the budget, CS Rotich mentioned that there will be a comprehensive housing package that is yet to be unveiled. What are some of the considerations that you think should be in this package? Because it's for incentivizing private investors into low-cost housing.
The National Treasury actually sets a fiscal policy. If you ask me, the National Treasury should work hand in hand with the Ministry of Housing, and to work hand in hand with the industry players. That is very critical, because the best ideas actually for an industry comes from the industry itself. It's a question of all stakeholders sitting down and developing something which is workable. I may not give specific recommendations, because you find that there will be even more valuable recommendations coming from the industry itself. But the best ideas will come when people sit down and it is all discussed on a round table, or in a proper or setup, instead of people just seeing regulations being and floated in draft, and before you know it, they have been enacted. So people need to sit down and come up with the appropriate policy.
As a tax director, from where you stand, what are your final words with regards to the budget that has already been read, and in terms of real estate and housing industry?
For the real estate sector particularly, there are a lot of incentives which are already available for this sector. There are also opportunities for people to take advantage of in terms of government's expected expenditure. If you look at the special economic zones which are being rolled out, there is a lot of opportunity there for people, particularly in the construction sector, to take advantage of that. The revival or the strengthening of the financial system. One of the biggest hurdles, or if you are developing a project, is the issue of financing. People who work in banks, who manage banks, who just have a lot of conflicts of interest, and they can really harass, and they have harassed a lot of developers. So if there is going to be strengthening of the system, the real estate sector needs to ensure that they also have their feet in the room where discussions about the strengthening of the financial system is taking place. So they need to put their voice and say, this is how we have suffered, this is how we would like these players to behave. So if they can also jump in the moment when the policy is being cooked, instead of waiting later on and saying, no, this is not really what we wanted. This is the opportunity to jump in and to lobby and to contribute. That I think will be my advice for the real estate sector.
Great, an interesting discussion we've had, breaking down the budget with regards to real estate and the housing sector. Of course, we have seen the budget being read in March, which is very different from other years where it's been read in June, and that is the same in other EAC countries. But analysts say that it may not bring such a big difference, but we're yet to see just how the budget will unveil in coming months. From that discussion, we now have an idea what the national budget means to us in this fiscal year of 2017-2018, but we're yet to see just how it will affect the economy. Thank you again for keeping us company here on NTV Property Show. See you next Sunday as we bring to you more informative topics.